Behind every pope is a spiritual map. Some chart their course through bold encyclicals or sweeping reforms, but Pope Leo XIV, just months into his pontificate, has begun drawing his with the help of saints. Not the usual ceremonial invocations, but deep, personal, and repeated references to holy men and women whose lives mirror the deepest longings of his papacy. In nearly every major address since his election, certain names rise again and again, not out of habit, but because they reveal something intimate about how this pope prays, dreams, and leads. These are not merely his favorite saints, they are signs, they are clues, they are guiding lights for the church at a time of uncertainty, division, and yearning. And each one offers insight into the kind of renewal Pope Leo XIV is quietly unleashing. Here are the top 5 saints most frequently mentioned by Pope Leo XIV, and why each one matters far more than you might think. Number 5. Street Carlo Audis, the digital disciple. On July 1, 2025, Pope Leo XIV confirmed the canonization of Carlo Audis would take place on September 7th, making him the first millennial saint. Carlo, an Italian teenager who died in 2006, is known for creating a website cataloging Eucharistic miracles around the world. In a world dominated by screens, algorithms, and digital distraction, Leo XIV sees Audis as a model for how holiness can flourish in the online age. By elevating this young saint, the Pope is clearly signaling that sanctity isn't just for the cloister or cathedral, it's for the smartphone generation too. Moreover, Leo XIV has repeatedly referred to Carlo as an apostle of the Eucharist, showing that the real presence of Christ remains at the heart of Catholic renewal, even in a tech-driven world. His canonization is a pastoral and prophetic act, connecting tradition to technology without compromising either. What's also notable is the frequency with which Pope Leo XIV mentions the importance of Carlo's purity, simplicity, and devotion to daily Mass. In homilies to young people, he has said, "You do not need to be perfect to be a saint. You need to love Christ and never walk away from him." This mirrors Carlo's famous quote, "The Eucharist is my highway to heaven." By bringing Carlo Audis into the full communion of saints, Pope Leo is reshaping the image of youth ministry and evangelization in the Church. No longer is holiness for those locked away from the world. Rather, it flourishes in the very digital sphere that seems so alien to faith. Number 4. St. Augustine, the heart of his spirituality. As the first Augustinian pope in church history, it's no surprise that Leo XIV draws heavily from the thought and example of St. Augustine. Augustine, quoting him frequently, especially in his teachings on inner conversion and divine mercy, Leo XIV often returns to themes of humility, communal life, and the restless human heart. Augustine's famous line, "Our hearts are restless until they rest in you," has appeared multiple times in Pope Leo's addresses since his election. But it's not just poetic. The Pope is using Augustine to anchor his broader agenda, to call the modern church away from noise, from activism without prayer, and from relativism without truth. Augustine, the man who converted from a life of ambition and sensuality, offers a blueprint for a culture desperate for meaning. Leo XIV knows this, and through Augustine, he is offering the world a return to the interior life. In meetings with clergy, Leo XIV has often urged them to pray more than you produce, contemplate before you comment. This Augustinian emphasis on interiority, humility, and the struggle with sin is a clear rebuke of a modern culture addicted to efficiency, novelty, and spectacle. He has also hinted that a future encyclical may center on the concept of memoria, the inner memory of the soul that Augustine saw as the dwelling place of God. In doing so, Leo XIV could be aiming to help the faithful rediscover spiritual depth in a superficial world. Number 3. Saint John Vianney, Saint John Eudes, and Saint Therese of Lisieux, Apostles of the Sacred Heart. In June 2025, Pope Leo XIV sent a special letter to the bishops of France, marking the centenary of the canonizations of 3 saints who shared a deep devotion to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. John Vianney, the humble parish priest; John Eudes, the promoter of the heart of Mary and Jesus; and Therese, the little flower, who made spiritual childhood her path to sainthood, all represent what Leo XV has called a spirituality of love rooted in simplicity, penance, and mercy. In a world obsessed with power, image, and complexity, these saints reflect a countercultural Catholicism that draws strength from weakness, not performance. Leo XIV is clearly calling the Church to rediscover the Sacred Heart, not just as a devotion, but as the center of Christian identity. He has also emphasized their missionary relevance. Vianney's tireless confession work, Eudes' founding of congregations, and Therese's worldwide spiritual influence, despite never leaving the convent. Their hidden lives reach the world, he said in his letter. That is the kind of holiness the world needs now. Leo XIV has asked dioceses worldwide to reintroduce First Friday devotions, reinvigorate Eucharistic adoration, and bring back popular missions in parishes. He believes these saints point toward a revival of personal piety and sacramental life, not programs or bureaucracy. Number 2, St. Peter and St. Paul, twin pillars of apostolic mission. During the June 29, 2025 Mass in honor of the Feast of Saints, Peter and Paul, Leo XIV, emphasized their complementary witness. Peter, the rock of unity and institutional faith. Paul, the missionary fire and intellectual giant. By highlighting both apostles together, Pope Leo XIV communicates his vision of a church that is both rooted and missionary, structured yet dynamic. In his homily, he stated, "The church must stand firm in truth, but never cease moving toward the margins." He has also drawn attention to the fact that both apostles suffered martyrdom in Rome, showing that unity and mission are not comfort zones, but roads paved with sacrifice. To emphasize this balance, Leo XIV has started to promote the idea of a new Synod of the Martyrs, a possible initiative focused on missionary outreach in regions where Christians are persecuted. The Pope sees Peter and Paul not just as historical figures, but as living examples of what it means to stand in the truth while risking everything for the gospel. He also invited Eastern and Oriental Catholic patriarchs to the Rome celebration, signaling a desire for deeper East-West unity, rooted in shared apostolic foundations. Number 1, St. Nicholas of Tolentino, the Pope's personal patron. Perhaps the most unexpected yet revealing devotion of Pope Leo XIV is to St. Nicholas of Tolentino, a little-known Augustinian friar from the 13th century. According to Catholic Online News, this saint was the Pope's personal favorite even before his election. Nicholas was known for his deep compassion for the poor, long hours in prayer, and especially his dedication to praying for the souls in purgatory. He lived a hidden life, but his holiness touched multitudes. By promoting devotion to St. Nicholas, Pope Leo XIV signals his intention to prioritize forgotten dimensions of the faith: purgatory, intercession, sacrifice, hidden holiness. It also reflects his desire to revive the spirituality of the Augustinian order, centered on charity, contemplation, and eschatological hope. He has already asked the Congregation for Divine Worship to study how local parishes might incorporate prayers for the souls in purgatory more consistently, perhaps even during Sunday Mass. He sees the spiritual works of mercy, especially praying for the dead, as one of the most neglected areas in modern Catholicism. The Pope's private chapel in Castel Gandolfo now contains a new icon of St. Nicholas, and according to sources, Leo XIV begins each day invoking the saint's intercession. He reminds us that heaven is won not by applause, said the Pope, but by faithfulness in what the world ignores. The saints Pope Leo XIV mentions are not random or nostalgic. Each one is chosen with pastoral precision. Through Carlo Audis, he addresses youth and technology. Through Augustine, he speaks to the need for interior conversion. Through Vianney, Eudes, and Therese, he calls the Church to rediscover mercy in the Sacred Heart. Through Peter and Paul, he holds together tradition and mission. And through Nicholas of Tolentino, he reminds us that the greatest acts of holiness are often hidden, silent, and eternal. Together, these saints form the living icon of his papacy: traditional, missionary, mystical, and urgent. They are a compass for the Church in an age of fragmentation. And in naming them, Pope Leo XIV is also naming the path he hopes the Church will walk in the years to come. A path lit by the saints who speak not just to history, but to our present hunger for holiness.